speak with largest religion, well, I would get too excited and it would take forever and all day. So instead of boring you with a long history lesson, I'm going to shorten it up and throw out some facts that will help you in understanding my presentation. So as I already mentioned, Sikhism is the 5th largest religion in the world with 23 million followers and 500,000 just in America. Personally, I find Sikhism a very unique and fascinating religion that everyone should learn about, and hope that you already figured that out. So now you might be wondering, every religion is different. So what makes this one so special? Well, if you look at a male Sikh, you see a turban and a long beard. I say male Sikh because women are not required to wear a turban, but some may. Most girls, however, just put their hair in a long braid like me. Young boys wear a small turban called a patka, while men wear a slightly larger turban called a pagdi. The purpose of this unique external appearance is to show commitment and cover the long, uncut hair. We believe that everything that makes us us is a gift from God, including the hair. Therefore, we should treat it with respect and never cut it. As Sikhs, we also believe in equality, helping and caring for others, and always being honest. The turban, which is a highly visual article of faith, makes Sikhs stand out. Now this might be a good thing at some times, aka finding my brother in a big crowd. However, it can also many times lead to discrimination in schools, offices, and the general public. As a Sikh girl living in America, I know it can be tough for some teens to live in a community where they don't fit in. So this led to my DaVinci project question, which is how does Sikhism affect teens who are living and practicing their religion in America? So during this long journey of boring research, I found some great resources that included true stories of teen Sikhs who were bullied or had trouble fitting in their communities. One of the stories really intrigued me, and it was about Prabdeep Suri, whose patka was a license to stare, taunt, isolate, punch, and even kick. His mother said, quote, he came home crying 3 days out of the 5, unquote. Prabdeep was able to overcome the bullying with the help of his parents and his religious community at the Sikh place of worship called the Gurdwara. He was given the strength to stand up and keep his pride and religious identity alive. His parents made him aware of this pride by sending him to religious schools at the Gurdwara and also Sikh summer camps. They also tried to explain the importance of their identity to Prabdeep's principal and also discussed the bullying issues. Nonetheless, the principal was not interested. So in response, they decided to send him to a private school, hoping for an end to the verbal and physical assaults. He was given a lot of strength and overcame the bullying issues. He is proud of his identity and will always stay committed to Sikhism, no matter what comes in the way. He said, quote, we stand for ourselves by telling others about our religion. Undoubtedly, education is the best way to take away ignorance and bring in knowledge about the world around us. Therefore, when classmates are educated about Sikhism, they will not discriminate and will understand the reason for the unique appearance. In fact, in a survey that I conducted of 20 people, I found that 4 respondents said that if they were bullied at school, they would try to explain why they do what they do. By raising awareness within the community, there will be fewer misconceptions and more acceptance. Many Sikh teens are doing just this, and they are a big part of our community. Rajiv Meet Singh, for an example, is a junior high school and is part of a movement called Sikh Chronicles. As part of the movement, he tours elementary and middle schools in the Los Angeles area and teaches children about Sikhism. He stated, quote, Sikh Chronicles is about one thing, improving Sikh life for the younger generation. Sometimes we have gone through hate and we have been hurt. I'm trying to teach other people more about Sikhs so that our children and grandchildren don't have to go through what we did. So, as we all know, parents are the most influential people in the lives of teens. They guide us and tell us what is right, what is wrong, what we should do, what we shouldn't do, and so on. Many Sikh parents of Sikh teens help their children fit in their schools by doing presentations and educating their classmates. In fact, just recently, my family and I did a presentation at a church a few months ago, hoping to spread awareness of Sikhism. The members, who were very sweet and welcoming, really enjoyed it and took away a lot. They even wanted to take a field trip to our place of worship to learn even more. The experiences not only benefited me, but also the members. I also learned how to actively take a role in my community and help inform people about my religion and my beliefs. Sikh teens, just like me, try their best to spread awareness of Sikhism because we know that it's the only way we can take away discrimination. So I found the answer to how Sikh teens deal with bullying, but that still didn't answer my ultimate question. How does Sikhism affect teens in America? I already knew that there are a lot of bullying issues that make it harder for them to concentrate in school. But what about the overall status? In my survey, I found that 65% of the respondents agreed that it is hard for someone to practice their religion in America despite the First Amendment. Why? Well, results vary from the fact that people are very verbal about their opinions, regardless of how judgmental it may sound, to the fact that you have to travel far to go to your religious practice. This brings up a very good point, because for me, it takes me about an hour to go to my gurdwara. However, I make every effort to attend a service every Sunday and also go to the school there. Although I try not to let the distance interfere with my religious prayers, there are many others who find it hard to go to a gurdwara that may be far. This can have an effect on Sikh teens and make it harder for them to keep their religious beliefs, because we believe that going to the gurdwara and praying with others is the best way to leave all your sorrows. Additionally, although the First Amendment grants the freedom to practice any religion peacefully, it does not and cannot control the opinions of others. As mentioned before, some people can be very verbal about their opinions, regardless of how judgmental or hurtful it may sound. These words or actions can severely damage a person's self-esteem and lead to destruction of their own identity. Many Sikh teens who are bullied are left to just this option. They decide to cut their hair and stop practicing Sikhism. They get into such a deep depression that they cannot even keep their identity anymore. But this huge step of cutting your hair and going against your religion can lead to a guilty feeling deep inside and have an effect at school and other social, mental, and physical aspects. A teen Sikh, Pawanpreet Singh, said, quote, "I would hear at least one comment per day. I felt like I was less than everyone else and some other species. It took a toll on my self-esteem and academics." Unquote. Bullying does make it harder for Sikh teens to practice their religion peacefully in America and also keep up with their education. Although I am not a victim of this, there are many teens who are, and they're struggling for freedom. I want you to imagine just for a second that you're a young, bright Sikh boy who goes to a predominantly white school. Racist boys would beat you up when going to school, at school, and when going home. They would knock your turban off and punch your eyes and wouldn't care if you cried. Taunting, name-calling, blunt-stealing, and nose-breaking would be common ways of bullying you endure every day at school. School would be like a prison, and learning would be impossible with the distraction of bullying and blood-stained clothes. You cannot take it anymore and seek freedom from the horrific violence that was suffered silently. You're found dead at home. This is a true story of a young, bright student named Vijay Singh, who had a bright future ahead of him, but the violence held him back. He wasn't able to achieve his dreams because of the bullying and ignorance of the racist boys who didn't even spare him once. Practicing a religion in America is hard. It is crucial to spread awareness of Sikhism in order to make it easier for every Sikh to practice their religion in America without any fear. The story of the boy brought tears in my eyes and made me understand the importance of education and awareness. If Vijay Singh had told his family about his problems, his life could have been saved. If the racist boys were educated about Vijay's identity, his life could have been saved. But this did not happen. The bullying had such a bad effect on Vijay's life that he had to seek freedom by taking his own life away. Sometimes, however, bullying can also be a good thing. It can give strength and confidence to Sikh teens and give pride in their identity. This has a very positive effect on teens who are living in America. An adult Sikh who grew up in America named Rupinder Singh is a great example of this, who said, "Well, today I sit with a dichotomous relationship with my own experiences. I know that it has shaped who I am today, and on one hand, I'm actually thankful that I went through it. When as a child, I felt threatened to go to school, faced all kinds of abuse, and yet still maintained my religious articles of faith without question, I know that there's nothing I can't face today. Those experiences have made me a more stronger, more confident Sikh," unquote. Rupinder Singh was a victim of bullying all throughout his childhood. He still has clear memories of the incidents. In one of his blogs, he wrote that, quote, "One day during recess outside, I was pinned down on the ground by another student. He wouldn't let me up, and as he held my head down in the ground, he blew his nose and smeared mucus on my butt as I was still wearing it. He laughed as he released me and got up. When we returned to class, I complained to my teacher, who admonished him at that moment, sent me off to wipe my turban, and left the decision without any further discussion." Unquote. A second episode was in 7th grade when he, and this is his own words, quote, "I was sitting at my desk in class when I suddenly felt a tug on some of my hair on the back of my head. I quickly swung around to see the student who sat at the desk next to me with a pair of scissors open and ready to cut, with a big smile on his face. He had tried to cut my hair. To this day, whenever in a public place, I prefer to sit so I can see as much of the room as I can, and no one is at my back." Unquote. His teen years weren't any better. He dreaded walking in the hallway where most of the name-calling and teasing occurred. Despite all this, he wrote, quote, "I never once considered cutting my hair. It simply did not enter my mind. Instead, I drew strength from stories of Sikh history, taking inspiration from the many Sikh men, women, and children in our past that never gave up their identity despite all kinds of tortures and persecutions." Unquote. I was inspired when I read Vinder Singh's story. He was able to ignore the bullying that occurred throughout his life, and he turned it into his strength. He is now a well-grown-up Sikh man with a turban and a long beard, practicing his religion peacefully. Quote, "However, when I see a Sikh child in this country, especially one wearing a pagga as I did, I wonder about what that child might be going through in school. It's enough to even make my stoic eyes well with tears, and I wish that they didn't have to face the same things I did. It's perhaps an idyllic wish not based on reality, but I'm comforted by the fact that we as a people are more active in protecting these children than ever before. We owe it to our children to do all we can to protect them." Unquote. So overall, I took away a lot from this project. I learned so much about how Sikhism affects teens like me and how they deal with bullying at school and outside of school. I personally and my brother have never been a victim of bullying. I hope that I can make a difference for those who have been bullied and don't have to silently take away their life, suffering from the horrific violence. I know bullying can never be taken away, but I wish that one day every Sikh teen will be able to turn the name-calling, teasing, pushing, and beating into their strength like Rupinder Singh, and take the stories of our history as inspiration.